widespread visit problems, yeah?
Yeah.
Because I used to say...
It's not live.
Okay.
You can just record here.
Okay.
I used to say, do what is right for the family. I'm not going to monitor. This was my approach. Because I grew up with my aunt, and she used to treat me very badly. You know, when you were doing everything in the house, and your aunt's kids were sitting like kings and queens, that was me. And I took a decision there. Exactly. I took the decision that after said, when I grew up, have my own family. This will never happen to my kids. Okay? That's how.
So, and the other presentations?
The other presentations, the Mphahlele one, I want to speak a lot about it because we argue almost every second day. So, from Adisha one was to say,
Yeah.
She said, yeah, very good. Yeah. So he was going to translate for us because it's very close. So whenever
he said every house has problems. Yeah.
So what I learned from you was very simple to say, it's up to me. How do I heal inside before I can move outside? Because it's not going to help me. I use the word fake healing and move around thinking that things are okay. That for me is a learning. And don't forget that it started in the morning when we were having a coffee session. So that's when that healing kicks in. Said, I need to heal inside as an individual. I may think that I've healed. It's the same statement. I think 2 weeks ago I was sitting with the psychologist again. He said, no, I don't think I've healed. I said, no, you're healed. So it's a mind issue.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a mind issue. You cannot come and waste your mind every time you believe somewhere at the back of your mind you're not healed to come here. No. This one, I'm not even going to charge you for the consultation. It's a mind issue. Deal with it and make sure that it comes out.
Thank you.
And what keeps me sort of, I use the word, because very often when you've got a lot of things thinking about, they take a lot of your immune system. I run marathons. So although I'm injured, but I don't run as much but I keep on running.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me fit.
Okay. Musha?
Okay, so it wasn't my first time joining LEKGOTLA. So I'll get on to the presentations. I didn't feel that much connected to the video that much, but I was more connected to what you spoke about, your experience and how you came about meditation. And I kind of like related a bit on it because what I used to do, I didn't call it meditation, but I used to do a lot of introspection, self-talks and self-questioning when I'm alone. So when I had baggages, I would prefer to sit alone and rethink where I went wrong before blaming other people. And then I work on it from there. So, for example, I remember around 2010 to 2012, there's a Springbok Park in Pretoria in Hatfield. So whenever I was down, I would go to that park. It's full of trees. There's water around. There's birds. So I would just sit down alone and think about my situation, what went wrong, and what I can do better, quietly. And I'm telling you, it used to work for me because after leaving that park, it was as if I was leaving my baggages there. So, years after that, I went through other experiences. So I had a lot of challenges because I have a twin sister. So I always felt like we were not treated the same. And I was treated like the older one, the one that doesn't need anything or want anything because I can't ask. And she's like the baby because whatever she wants, she gets. So it was a bit difficult because I expected my parents to do whatever they were doing for her. I expected them to do the same things for me, but it happened differently. I worked before her. I had to take myself to school. pay for myself while they were paying for her, and I felt that I needed that support as well. As much as I was working, but I just needed that thing of where can we help you, and I never got that. So I struggled with that for years, but I sat down and I realized that as we are different, my twin sister and I are different, and my parents are seeing something in me that they don't see in her, and I also told myself that God has different paths for us. And even though throughout those years it was difficult, I ended up leaning into God more than, doing the self-talks and everything. I would do the self-talks, but I always trusted in God and, always told myself that things will work out. I'll get through this path, whatever challenges that I'm going through. Maybe God is preparing me for something, And I remember when I was staying in Kempton Park, that was the hardest years because my partner and I were trying to have a baby, and it didn't happen for like 3 years, and I became depressed about it because I didn't have anyone to talk through it about, and I didn't even communicate with my mom about those challenges. My partner was the only person that I was talking to, and as a woman, thinking that I won't be able to have a child, I'll be less of a woman, So those thoughts came, taking in, and it was just, I was a mess at that time, and I had to pack from Kempton Park and go back home because I just felt that I needed a space where I was with everyone so that I don't think a lot. Because at first, when I sat alone and think through things alone, it was easy, but during that time it was different because it was just stressing me out because I couldn't find solutions. So I thought that, okay, maybe if I go back home, I'll get the support I need, I'll get through this, and it didn't happen that way. I ended up moving out of my home again because it was even worse. Where I thought I was going to get support, I didn't get support. So I moved again, stayed alone again, same story again. But after that, I just kept telling myself that things will work out. And I was fortunate enough because I had a partner that was supporting me and who always believed that things will work out. And I remember the year after moving out of home again, that year was the year that I fell pregnant. And that following year when I found out, I couldn't believe it. But it was because I was doubtful, but because of the support that I had of my partner, I always believed that it will happen. I should just, believe in God's timing. Maybe it wasn't time that time, and I should just believe in His timing and things will work out, and it did turn out that way. So with meditation, for me, I'm still confused. I don't know how to relate with it. I think I do a part of it, but sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't work for me, because sometimes I end up stressing a lot because I'm trying to think about things. I don't know if I should say it's controlling it, or I don't know how to. So it becomes stressful.
You don't know what
sometimes.
to do with the thoughts.
Yes, I don't know what to do with the thoughts. So it becomes stressful.
No,
So-
she said it's not
No,
recording.
he said not recording.
It's not recording.
Yes. So yes, it's
No, but I'm worried. He said recording you.
it's recording,
He said
but it's
it's not live.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
So meditation is good, but for me it depends on a situation. And maybe if I had learned more about meditation and how I should do with the thoughts and everything, maybe it could have been better. But because of I didn't know that I was meditating and how I was supposed to meditate, it became difficult, and I didn't know how to tackle the challenges that I was going through. So like I was saying, I relate a bit with you, but I still need to get around meditation and get used to it and learn the techniques. I think my challenge is the techniques. I don't know the techniques.
there's actually no technique.
So what do you do with the thoughts?
I think that is the thing, is that the thoughts will come. We'll never ever be able to shut the mind down. Mind has a mind of its own, and because we're trying to shut the mind down, we take the focus off the benefits of it. And the whole thing is, when the thoughts come, you just have to acknowledge thoughts, thinking or thoughts, just thinking, and then go back to your breath. That's all, nothing. Don't do anything. Don't judge the thought, because what happens is now you're in that space and then a thought comes. But you build on that thought. And then now you start creating the story. Because the mind has a way of creating stories and building on it. Like, okay, I started there, or I need to blow dry my hair, but then I need to go and do this, or I need to get, the mind has a way of building onto the stories. And the whole thing is, when you continue with the practice, you get to a place where you become so aware that this is a thought. And if you are anxious, you become aware that this is an emotion. And you just take yourself back to the breath. The only thing you have to do is sit there and be mindful of the breath going in and out of your nostrils. Because when you're breathing, you can actually feel the cold air going in. You can actually feel where it's going to and how it's going out, because that air is what's activating your whole nervous system. And that's all it is. It's only about breathing in and breathing out, nothing else. Don't try and chase the thoughts away. They will always come. Eventually, because the mind is like a muscle that you have to train. Eventually that mind knows that I just got to be calm and relaxed. And the thoughts, I can tell you, maybe for 3 or 5 years, thoughts will be there. They'll never go away. It will never happen. Don't expect it to happen in 3 months, 5 months, or whatever. It can take years. But you will feel the benefits of it. You will feel the benefits. They say Martin Luther King, when he died at the age of 39. Martin Luther King. When they did an autopsy on his body, he looked like he was a man of 69. Inside his DNA, his body inside had aged because of the stress and all of that. So the benefits of meditation is anti-aging, and it's to preserve the inside, because our organs and all of that, if those things, people are dying now from non-communicable diseases, which is your heart, your kidneys, high blood pressure, all those things, where your body can regulate it, and you regulate it through the breathing. So you're actually making the inside of your body younger. Never mind about the outside. The inside of your body younger, healthier, because you're sending oxygen all the time to your cells, and nothing, even this water we drink, our cells do not absorb it, it goes straight through. But what feeds the cells is oxygen, feeds the brain cells. So that consciously aware of the breath, because when we're breathing now, we're only breathing here. We're actually not consciously taking it throughout our breath, down our toes, up our head, to the brain or whatever. So if you can control just the breath of where it's going, up and down. So if I've got a pain here, I send the breath there.
Yeah, so that's another thing that I learned, was that one should not entertain the thought too much.
Yeah, right.
Because sometimes they say that you're sick, like you were saying that they said you about the cancer and your so sometimes they tell you that you have this sickness, and then you entertain it. You tell yourself, you keep telling yourself that I'm sick, and then you're not dealing with it, and you're helping it create itself in your body.
Manifest, yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah.
That's one thing that I've learned, that although they tell you that you are sick, you are diagnosed with this, you shouldn't entertain that thought in order for you to recover.
Yeah, and it's not
quickly.
so much about entertaining the thought. It's more about the fact that we believe our minds. So we believe the stories that our mind is creating. So we buy so much into that stories, and there's a very nice process by Byron Katie, where she asks, when you have a thought about something, is it really, really true? How do you know it's
How
true?
do you know?
But your mind is telling you it's true. But how do you really know that he says that about you? He thinks that about you. Because we get our mind creates these emotions, we latch on to these emotions. And so it's like, how do you know? Do you really know it's true? And if it were true for you, and if you did not have that thought at all, let's eliminate that thought. If you eliminated that thought, who would you be without that thought? Who would you be without that thought? The thought of all these stories, we create these movies of the mind. And then we believe the movies of the mind. But who would you be without the thought?
That's actually powerful what you're saying, Adila, because I think what I struggle with is that I have negative self-talk, or over time I've had negative self-talk. So I would have the thoughts, but I would believe them, but everything about them is negative. I struggle to get out of it, and as a result, you won't believe that last year in December, my blood pressure was sitting at 233, and the doctors were saying you just like a walking tops. 233 over 111.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm stressed over how the wheels have come off, what's going to happen. And the more I stress is the more things don't happen. Like he was saying, he's worried about putting
Food on the table.
food on the table. I didn't know where this food must... I'm telling you, the last project I did was probably, in February, a real project. Then from there, it's just been snippets, which haven't been enough to put food on the table. So I'm somebody that doesn't like that. So I ended up in that trap that I don't know how to, and that's what has been worrying me.
And like you're saying, a lot of the mental health, mental issues that we're getting today, whether it's depression or people being overwhelmed and all of that, it's just because we're believing our thoughts. And the more you do it, like even if you're saying, my concern is, what's going to happen to me? How am I going to put the food on the table? The more you're going to think about that, the more it's going to be further and further and further away from you. The more it goes further and further away from you. But if in your mind you say, today you're grateful, what are you grateful for? You are grateful because your family... Sorry, how are we doing for time? We okay? So you might be grateful because you have your health. You're grateful because your family has their health. There's so many things that we are really, really grateful for. I'm grateful for this opportunity and all the lessons. Like even today, you're grateful for this platform and sharing. And I'm just sitting here and I was just thinking, because I made a note here on the views and opinions, and how the personal stories really connect us as human beings, the storytelling bit. I've listened to everybody say, your story touched me, and it was really just that the connectivity of personal stories brings up things within people, and it's so inspiring. And I listen to you, Portia, talking about a twin, and I even think about sometimes, I have two daughters, they're 1 year apart, and the one might think the other one's being favored or whatever. But in my eyes, they're all the same, but I do have a most rewarding daughter, most rewarding, that is always concerned, phone, you have that one most rewarding child. But the same thoughts that you had about, I would take that and say, is it really, really true? Do you absolutely believe that your mother favored? How do you know it's true? Have you had the conversation?
It's a perception.
No, yeah. This is like, how do you know? Have you had the conversation? Because what would you be without that thought? Because I can tell you, if I took a coin, there's two sides to the coin. And I love the fact that you said I'm a twin. That twin there, do you know what her story is? Have you ever listened to the other side of the story, the other side of the coin? Because we all have our stories. Have you ever taken the time to really find out, is it true? Or listen to your twin side of the story? Sometimes we create our own barriers and boundaries, and we do things and we think people are doing things to us. But have you ever taken the time to listen to, have you ever taken the time to share your story with your twin, or to listen to her story? This is how I felt when Mum did X, Y, Z. Or Mum, this is how I felt when you did this X, Y, Z. So we have these stories, but is it true? And what would you be without that thought?
Okay.
And you might
To
have your
answer that,
story. You might
yes.
have your story.
Yes.
You know, you understand what I mean.
Yes,
And I
yes.
don't want you to answer it, but I'd love you to watch Byron Katie.
Byron Katie.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
You will find your own answers, you know, within yourself, because it's work in progress. And we will always have a story of, yeah, but, and I have this example, yeah, but. It always gets back to us in terms of the taking ownership of our stuff. Taking ownership of our stuff, being responsible for ourselves.
Hence I said that I came to realize that my parents were seeing something that I was not aware of. So, for example, I once had a chat with my mom. After coming back from Kempton Park, staying at home, I had a chat with my mom, and I shared with her all these things, the feelings that I had. And she was a bit emotional because she was not aware. And I once shared it with my twin sister. I can say that she was also not aware, but she always get her way through things. So I find my twin sister is someone who always, whatever she wants, she has to get it. And she's a crybaby, so that's why she gets all the attention. But my mom said she did what she did because she knows that I can always
Handle it, you're stronger.
You know, I'm stronger.
Yeah.
That's what she said. You're stronger than your twin sister. What you've went through, your twin sister cannot go through it without our help.
So she made a judgment call on it, yeah.
Yes, yes. And
But I think also with our parents, we just need to know that they did the best that they could for us with
Yes.
the tools, the knowledge,
Yes.
and the experience that they had.
yes, and the other thing about it, Adila, is that today, sitting here, I'm grateful of those experiences. I used
Shaped
to-
your character.
Yes, it shaped my character. I used to negative, like she said, negative talks. I used to have those negative talks and saying that they don't love me, blah, 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 blah. But then, you know, I came to realize that, no, she's building me. She loves me, you know. She sees me more than I see myself, you know. And another thing is that I became aware of myself last year that I was clever because she always told me that you're clever. You know, you need to sit down with your sister when she's studying, because she knew that with me supporting my twin sister, we were going to climb the ladders together, unlike leaving her behind, you know. So I saw a positive side on that and told myself that I should be grateful of my parents and the teachings that they've taught me, because I wouldn't have been the person I am today if it wasn't of those challenges and those teachings that I got from them. So I'm always teaching myself positive thinking around whatever that I'm going through.
Yeah, but we can also damage our kids sometimes.
Participants speaking, the party says, let each member of your mini LEKGOTLA introduce themselves by referring the following question. This is what it is. But we didn't start here. We started by our names. Yes. So is that our checking?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Where are you now?
We are here. Tell us your take from all the above checking points at your mini LEKGOTLA.
Yeah, you were checking. This is what it means. These are the checking points.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
These points.
All the points
Ones
that
we
you,
did from here.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're checking when you are greeting yourself. That's how you are checking is what is your name, where you come from.
Yeah.
Yes, what you are as you were telling yourself your names, where you come from, what do they mean? What does it teach you? What did you learn from it?
Oh, okay. We've done
Like
it.
for instance, if I explain my name, even Patrick will hear my way of explaining myself that he will normally hear because we never sit down and say, let's talk about our names. But the process forces you to say, why are you Muramakok?
Yes, we did ask.
You understand? Because then if he doesn't know, when he goes back home, definitely he's going to want to know because now he's all of a sudden he's interested.
Yeah. That's
Are you interested?
No, I can't wait to
Why
fast.
only?
Yeah. That's everything. Good. Don't everything.
Feel free to correct.
Yeah. See on come explain.
Okay, so now. So
No, I come
I'll check it out.
I
So
come
my
take.
what was your take?
My take is that I need to find out the meaning of my name. Yes. Both of them.
All of us, bro.
When he
Most
so
of us.
said,
No. That's not how you explain my name.
But we laughed at it. Remember, and actually you guys laughed at it.
No,
and I'm
I
like,
just-
why
I
are you
disagree.
laughing?
You know what happens? I think his name is Morama. Not Morama Kop. They left G there as they were telling. We have Morama Kop. Just that they left that G to make it Makop.
The way you on it right.
Oh,
there's
it's
nothing.
female.
There's nothing wrong. It's just that okay, next time I'll get you the answers.
so find out the meaning of names. Is that all?
Is that all?
Guys,
But it says from all the above.
no. Get which is
What's all the above checking?
No, let me tell
Go
you.
homework.
Let me give you. You know what? How our parents are. They gave us names. They don't care from their great grandmothers or whatever. Understand? And I know which I mean. How a whole sentence.
Your take from
In what I relevant. So all this surprise. Oh my God.
Yes.
Moromako. How do you explain that?
No, I'll go with something. There's something yellow. I know. Yellow keep on putting. This name is Yapajan. Say name Yapajan.
Maybe the whole process.
Intelligent. Okay, guys. Open this name. Say name Yapajan. Say name Yapajan. Italy come home. This guy even entered. So those guys, it was a name of that person.
Yes.
Just because of the way running away from those from apartheid. Yeah, it was Mashiwan Pajan. The name was Pajan. The name was Mashiwan. But from the
That's
meaning.
what I'm telling you. Never to go from one place to another. Ke khofa.
Ah, yeah.
Khofa king.
Yes.
Ntele go ya go yo botisa ke go botsa. Nte ke beile
Guys,
pachana.
Okay.
Pachana
Guys,
and then they said pachana. I asked about it.
Guys, I disagree, but I'll get you the
I
answers.
asked.
No, I'll get you the answers.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes.
Guys, can watch first get the answer.
Okay.
No, it's for you to find out, not for us.
Yeah, but we clear.
Pachani ke khofa. It's like when you're saying
Okay,
Utando. What is utando? That is love. Ke lerato, understand? And you can't say gore Pachani ke a man who traveled from one place going to another was given ke khofa.
Okay. Okay. Can we get back to the...
Refeditse from the above.
We haven't done. First, tell us your take from all the above. Everything that we've discussed, what was your take on it?
The key thing in regards to this is that we can't go step by step.
Yeah,
It's just to summarize the whole
Eh,
content.
but you know, we can't summarize the whole content because
They
we work
mean
at different things.
Exactly.
And look, Anna,
It's just to
happy
touch
birthday.
base.
Tell us your take from above the check-in or all. Nah, Kim go
Okay,
on
I'm going
ka
the important
theory.
things, the theme and the topic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's, theme and...
Guys, but now, what
So we've got names and theme and topic. That will be enough, I guess. The theme.
So what are we saying about our names? That we need to go and find out what the meaning of our names is. Okay, so that's fine. The theme,
So
The theme came mindfulness. That's the theme.
Mindfulness.
Yeah.
It's a mindfulness.
What was your take? Anyone? Your take?
I think you've summarized it quite well.
I don't even remember.
Oh, okay, because I'm writing, I can remember.
Oh.
What you said was, it doesn't matter what belief system... No, not it doesn't matter. Wait, that's what you said. You said something about...
Religious, yeah. I get a couple of the key points instead of...
Wait, just hold on.
Hold on, give me 2 seconds. I'll tell you now.
Where you said this thing sort of expands your No belief system, man. What is this thing?
Yo.
Your way of handling issues that is not only spiritual, but
Yes, there are different ways
of
of
handling.
solving a problem or handling. Yeah,
Yes.
I remember
so,
you can.
Yeah. So where is that?
You're
Now,
the
where
one
are
with
my
the good
notes?
English here.
Where's my notes?
It should be the first thing, ne? That it's after our names.
Yeah, I'm looking for it now. Where is it?
I was not on the speaker.
Don't worry. I've got it covered. Yeah, you said, as human beings, we have experiences, spiritual beliefs, I'm going to put it like that, and other religious beliefs is not enough. We need other interventions such as meditation, summoning the universe, and other things to support one to be conscious.
Yeah, that's my take on this theme.
Is
I'm
anybody
happy.
who disagree?
No, I don't.
Ah, we all
From
together.
my side, I don't disagree.
So we all
Since
together.
it's written down, which means we agree then.
Dimakato?
Any addition?
She didn't hear you guys.
No, like I feel like whatever is on Jeterang, I can't expanding whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like Okaro, we should go back to the drawing board, whereby parents teach kids that it's okay to talk to somebody. Like by getting into the system, so which means we call only primary, or when you have a problem you need to talk to somebody, unlike how they told us, you're a man, you shouldn't cry.
Starts in the family.
Yes, a man
You
doesn't
should
cry.
you should keep it inside you. You should what
I mean-
and as a woman, when you get married, you don't talk to a stranger about your marriage
Your problems.
Yes, I think it was
So introduce other interventions at,
yes.
what do you call it? Can't say lower levels, but how do you put it? At family,
Yeah.
nuclear family.
Yeah, or let's not say nuclear because that's
Yeah,
too
too
small.
small.
So let's just say family. It should start come on through. You're the one with the English, I
Okay,
said.
I'm trying to think now because there's so much going on in
Man
my head.
doesn't cry, that's right.
I like that one.
level.
How do we say? You said it's this thing here where charity begins at home.
Monna o lela
Charity
ka
begins
teng.
at home.
Monna ke nku o bolela ka
Ah,
teng.
you want to. Ke yona ntho e bolayang di-families change, because now let's say for instance you grow up with your mother and your father in the same family, right? You find out your father o shapa ma how, right? And they're telling you what, don't talk about it, keep it within you, right? And then when you grow up, when you have your own wife, you feel like it's okay for you to beat Mossad. Yeah.
Interventions such as like mindfulness and kind
I don't
of meditation should be introduced at an early age.
Yes.
I'm gonna read for you. Should be introduced at an early age in the homes. Starts with the homes, I guess.
Yes. Everything starts at home. Everything else follows from home.
Okay, what I said, it's a charity begins at home, where other interventions such as mindfulness, meditation, and others should be introduced at an early age in the homes. Is that fine?
That's
Or is there anything you guys want to add?
You want to agree?
Yeah,
Summarize it
exact-
very quick.
Yes. Topic?
No, getting such in the work at theme. Topic here presentation. Why
Presentation.
Topic here presentation in but what's the topic here presentation? What do we your take from your presentation? It's like I think we've already answered how it makes you feel.
But what was your take?
It just needs to be a summary of it.
Which
take
one? This
Well,
one?
the topic that is a paragraph. What were we discussing? Is that the
like
meaning of a topic?
What was your take
what is your take on what we're discussing?
on the topic? What was your take?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like no, not really. It doesn't matter. It matters what you believe, right? But you shouldn't lash it out. Or suddenly, let's say we are together and he's doing a presentation. Even though you disagree with what he said, you shouldn't lash out like I disagree or I do what. You just take what he's saying and you think about it. Is it right? Is it wrong?
Yes.
Without criticizing.
Okay, so how do we put that, Madimakas?
So
So how do we put it together?
So differences should not be
we should put our differences
Aside, yeah.
Should we?
for the sake
Yeah, you should. I get it at
for
that
the
moment.
sake of keeping
Yeah.
a peaceful environment.
Environment.
Also more.
Agree to disagree. Yes.
Yeah, put that difference
Alternately,
aside.
inside you were agreeing with what he's saying, but
Until
when you
we
come
came here,
outside,
like,
you're like, I
We
don't.
don't.
Yeah.
So put our differences aside, but shouldn't we learn something from it? Because
Yes.
it doesn't mean worry. Although I don't
Yes.
disagree, there's not things that sort
Yeah.
of clicked with you. I don't know how do you
Okay.
put that?
Ugotsenge?
He said put the difference aside, but then
But
there must be some nuggets that you
yeah,
pulled out.
learn something from those
Yes.
differences.
Yes, learn something or take something from
From
those
those
differences. Okay. So then it comes to that diversity. Something about diversity is what? Something from those differences.
Yes.
Kana barata hore when you talk about apartheid in South Africa and we say there's power in diversity. What does it say?
I don't know those sayings.
You don't? Those differences.
It's like, yes,
Okay.
there was power in diversity.
Yeah, good point.
No, serious. There's power in diversity if you think about it. We don't have, for us to get along, it doesn't mean we have to agree all the time. There'll be times where you will defend your point. There'll be time I'll be like, hey, sisters.
And they would tell me, like, Mama, you're right. Eh?
Yeah.
I should take something from that.
Exactly.
What's it's
Yeah.
when you're starting a company, right? There's you. Okay, there's directors or whatever, and then maybe finally CEO, and then there's what do you do? What do you do?
Administrator.
And then she's doing HR. And she's whatever. There's different departments.
Yes.
In whatever. You can't say as a boss, I'll be a HR manager. I'll be a marketing. What. You need different people who input.
So they
and you
can
need to
bring
find
the
somebody
company
who
to its
specializes
success.
in that. If you're specializing in meditator, you're teaching me one or two things.
About meditation.
Yes,
And then
about
I bring
meditation.
a religion to your side.
Yes, yes.
So how do I put that then?
But you just put it, power in diversity.
I did. I said there's power in diversity.
Yeah.
Enough example.
Oh, okay.
Based on my theology, I think we are done.
We're done.
Can I go have a cup of coffee?
Yeah, go and help yourself. Nobody stopped you. You don't need permission to do anything. Come on now. So, okay, we said we're gonna do this. How much time do we have? How much time do we have to present this thing?
I think it's a maximum 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Can't you say that? That's already
Take long.
bulleting.
Remember, there are people who like if they are, let me tell you a quote. If they are presenting this he'll take one out. It depends on who's gonna present.
Who's gonna present what?
It's 14.
So wait, can I ask a question? When I call out your names, are you guys gonna wave
No,
or
we
you gonna?
don't do anything.
How people gonna know who was in group 3?
Oh, on
How?
what we can do, you can say our good.
No, what I'm saying. Good.
No.
Mane.
Huh? Okay. From my group, group members.
But the
Then
thing
why
is, you know what? I wanted to make it fun. Like you guys are saying, the other people are serious. So
Yeah.
I wanted us to be like different. Or if you can leave it, you're gonna go like master cunt and you know those kind of things.
Are we?
Yes, you know, be different because remember we're diverse and you're bringing yourself into
What
the
we
thing.
can do,
Yeah.
since he said,
Yeah.
when we call Gerald, the Maga's Mike, since we all stand left and then we sit down. We say you can sit down and we'll sit down. Not one by one.
You know, that's
How people gonna
So you wanna-
you say we are youth here.
How people
You say so let's
Listen to the
play
point,
the
energy.
energy. Thank you. Ka. Then you go like, come up with an idea.
I missed something.
Kiri, when I introduce you, how do you guys want to do it? Because I'm not gonna like call your name and then you go.
yeah.
So I was like, she was saying massacre. Jenna says, goes we say, that's boring. So we need to, because remember, we're bringing
and we are
our
youth,
energy into the space. So we show them, this is how we roll.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have my fun. So.
You are rolling with us, don't worry.
Exactly. So now we need to be different. So can we brainstorm that quickly? Or how do you want to do it?
No, it's in when.
No, you think?
Wona be ke bolela ke re la ke re gone ka mogo mare re emelelo e misa seatla gona ka mogo ba bolela
That's formal, then it's boring. Can you come up with something different?
Hence why I say all of us must just stand.
ya Mike ya go yona tsiletse
I come on.
no asore ke ya go nyatsa mare
So guys, we should.
Come on now.
So what's the
In my
solution
group,
based on
we
it?
have Gerald Morama Kopo, aka.
No.
ya
No, it won't.
no it go somehow like yeah serious no it go somehow serious
Not to worry. No, but I'm saying.
no mari ka basa mo you why I right wona na ke rata idea gore e sentse re be fana re bontse energy
No, that's
no energy
Wait, the way she did, that's why I'm like, no, Dimakato, no.
But I get it. That's the thing, the meaning chancy.
No, not with our names, but we can do actions.
I get it.
Then, but you can
No, I
do
get
that.
it. No, I get it. Negative Makatsu, aka
I
surprise.
use the YouTube.
Indugu, and then?
Done.
No, we still brainstorming for how I'm going to introduce you.
Okay, it is still surreal.
We say we were the loudest in the...
When we were...
Yeah. We were the loudest one. But if we then we were the loudest one, then we need to bring that energy back into the room. We can't say we were loudest and then say, and then when I introduce you, you go...
no re thoma by the time when bar group 3 re thoma gona moremela ka ofela re something
I think that's what I want. What is it that we're going to do? What is it
yeah,
that we're going to do as a group?
idea ke ene ya le gore a gona le
Or do you want, hey, my master con, then you're going to do what do you guys do when you guys have fun? Exactly.
Okay.
Remember, this is Lekgotla, guys. We also need to respect it the way it is.
No, there were no rules.
No. Dance or sing.
We said, why do you think Sam asked us to come up with a name? We said, in fact, what's our name? Deviators. So how can we be deviating? Thank you. Exactly. So now you want to go back now into the rules.
But the
Michael, you mustn't be worried. You mustn't be worried about other groups. They've got their own things that they do.
Michael,
why should you worry?
No, I'm not formal. This is
Why
they
are you
gave us
worried?
the manuals.
What manual?
This manual.
That's your phone. So what are we going to do, guys?
Maybe we can say something.
Like what?
Power. I don't know.
Oh, there's power and diversity.
There's power in diversity.
We are the deviators.
So you'll be like, Michael Maloba.
Not ma. Mo.
Maloba. Maloba.
Maloba, it's
Power in
yesterday.
diversity.
Dimakato.
Are we all going to say power and diversity?
I think so.
Power and diversity.
Power and
In my
diversity.
group, we have Dimakato, we have whatever, and together we are the debaters.
Also,
You say it again. So, okay, what are we going to do? Yeah?
Am I even
Say it again, Dimakato.
What?
So, introduction?
the way she write it down, the way she has
Exactly. Say it, Dimakato. What did you say?
Yeah, kilometer.
you know what happened? You said
No, I get it.
we are Gerald.
No, I get it. Oh, to bolela hore in my group we have.
So wait, how is it going to happen? Are you guys going to come up with me in front? Or how is it going to happen?
no just stand
I
up
get it. We'll make sure hore re dula ka muka hore voice e dira.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Rezang?
Would you like to get?
And then
Yes.
okay one aba bitsa we
Because the issue is, how do we grow this mindfulness, which is a practice that it will enrich one's life? Sure.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh no, I feel I need clarity on the topic meditation. Because, like you're saying, it's a practice. It's something
that you need to learn how to do. I think I just need more clarity. What exactly do you mean when you say meditation? Because the meditation I'm thinking of might not be the meditation that you're talking
I wanted to say it before the expert says it. And we were talking about this when we were having lunch. Does meditation have to happen in silence? Because my understanding of meditation is a reflection. It's you taking a deep reflection on the events that have just occurred, and in the meditation process, finding yourself to try find the comfort and then move on from those happenings, and finding for the lack of a better word, finding an eternal comfort from that. That's how I would understand it. And then during lunch, I argued that meditation doesn't have to happen in silence. I gave a footballing analogy to say a coach whose team consistently goes in 15 minutes has to find a time within himself in the big crowd to meditate about what had just happened and understand the way to that eternal comfort for the remainder of the match and so forth. And I'm happy to be wrong.
Can I talk? Or do you want to say something, Faith? Okay. There is something I wish I spoke about in the big group, which is space, which is also time, which is also thought. He asked me the same question, and I'm going to give him a different answer. Yes, meditation has to happen in silence. Earlier on, I told him whether does he want his meditation to happen in silence. What is happening to me right now? There could be noise around me, but there is silence within me. Now, that question that you are asking is so difficult for me to answer, because in this journey I went through what everybody else is going through, including what that guy said about mindfulness. My teaching used to be accessible to myself and to others. At the moment, it's not even accessible to me. Do you understand? But the classical explanation of what meditation is, it means to ponder. It means to think over. That's what is the meaning of the word meditation. That's why in the Bible they will say, you must meditate on this word. I think somewhere, oh, by the way, it's been like over 20 years since I've been to a church. I don't go to church. I've got stories I'll tell you some other day. But I also learned that, because I do pray. I used to pray some Zetigas. They used to run away from this. Hey, you like the truth. You're too much. We want to cut corners. It used to frustrate them. But then I learned from that interaction that to be truthful, you don't have to belong to anything. You don't have to belong to a grouping. You have to be a light unto yourself. That's the whole point about meditation. You have to be a light. So that if you are a light based on my light, the day I switch it off, my dear, you are in the dark. Now, the whole point about enlightenment is not to say to people they must touch the TV screen when they're in their home and you tell them rubbish. It's not there. You must become the light of yourself. There is actually a technique about the light body that, you know, in the Bible there's a Paul where he says, the things I don't want to do, I do. The things I should be doing, I don't do. And then he says, this corruption will not inherit the kingdom. Then he says, in the wink of an eye, the body will be turned into light. I am yet to come across a church that teaches light body, because there is a light body. And when you are the light body, you become you can be nowhere and everywhere all at once. That is the whole point about
3 o'clock now. We must be back at 3 o'clock.
Okay. Now, that's what is the point. Now, to answer your question directly, meditation means to ponder, to think over. Not to practice, but I can tell you that I started with practicing. Now, I think that each and everyone has their own path. It's up to you to find your own path. You can get guidance from people who have been there before. But your God and my God are different, yet they're the same. That's the trick about it. That's the beauty of it. Did I answer your question? Now you know how to meditate. Now you know how to meditate. People think when you are thinking over, when you're pondering, when you're meditating, you're thinking about God or mindfulness or spirituality. That's utter rubbish. That is so bad. Because to ponder, to think over. Let's just make an example. You're standing there, there's a braai. No? Somebody starts throwing alcohol on the meat. We do that all the time. Then you think over. You ponder on that. Then it's funny because then reality comes to you. Then you realize, but we can be really stupid. Who came up with that idea? It happened, but then it affects all areas of your life without you realizing it. Because the truth, you cannot seek it. It will come to you. That's how it happens. I think I must stop here.
Okay. So I take it meditation can happen in a big loud of noise, but silence within then accepted. Because it is about self and not proximity. So I moved to suggest, okay, looking at time, let's finalize the recommendations, and then we're ready to go. And the recommendation, if I may just seek clarity, this would be recommendation on the subject mindfulness and meditation to other people. Okay, good. So let's move on to recommendations.
Can I start?
Yeah.
My suggestion is it's silent. Now, how do I say this? Because for me to be silent, I must actually be listening. Do you understand? To be silent, you must be listening. Or to listen, you must be silent. I'm not sure which one. But what happened is, actually what just happened now, because it's happening as we chat. You have to have silence within the silence, so that you can listen without prejudice, so that you can hear because you are attentive, not because you want to respond. I think that's it.
Sorry. What I hear you saying that sometimes silence is not equal to quietness.
Exactly.
Because you could be quiet but turbulent
Chatting.
inside. So you must have that silence within that silence, and I think that's a beautiful way. If you get to that level, then you are peaceful.
Sorry, let me part in. The good thing is you don't have to hold this in to laugh.
It will be impractical because by the time you finish holding it, there's no laughter.
And speaking about silence, I once learned something in my journey of spirituality. I prefer saying it that way. I learned that in order for you to be able to be silent, you need to know where to switch off the button of your thoughts. Because thoughts can be very noisy. And one thing about thoughts is that you don't even manufacture them. They just invade your space. So in order for you to be able to have control over your being, whereby you get to a level whereby you're saying now you are enlightened, it's when you have figured out the button of your thoughts. That's silence.
Great. I think we must start walking back. If there are any thoughts that come that you want them to be captured while we are settling down, let's just capture them. Or you can get off from the floor and add them, but let's just do the last part.
As you walk to the other group to tell them who will finalize our stuff.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you.